Hello, everyone. My name is Pat Modier, and I'm the Study Abroad Coordinator at UL Lafayette. And we are sharing with you in this session information about our study abroad programs that take place in the summer that are led by our faculty. And this particular session is going to be with our faculty for our Italy program in the summer of 2022. So what I'd like to do is just take a few moments before we get started to have each of our faculty members introduce themselves, share with you their name, their department, how long they've been at the university, experiences abroad, those types of things. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with Ms. Becky, if you don't mind.
Sure. Hi, I'm Becky Dubois. I teach in the hospitality management program in the College of Business. I have been an instructor with the university for the past 21 years. This is going to be my first experience with study abroad. I am extremely excited and ready for it to begin. I have not participated in the program, but I have many faculty friends who have, and I'm going to use their experiences and get all the inside details from them to plan the trip this coming summer.
Awesome. Okay, so Mr. Kelly, would you share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Brian Kelly. I'm a professor of printmaking in the Department of Visual Arts. I've been here for 22 years. And I've done study abroad. I taught in England a number of years ago. I was scheduled to teach in the Florence program a couple years ago before COVID took hold. But I've traveled throughout the United States, and I've traveled in South America, and I've traveled throughout Europe. And I'm looking forward to getting to Florence, which I've been to before. So I'm familiar with the city, and I'm looking forward to bringing students there and having a summer of making art and enjoying the city of Florence again.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, Ms. Cousinet, if you don't mind. I'm sorry, did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Correct. Yes. I'm Nadia Kozinets. I'm with the Interior Design Department of School of Architecture and Design in College of the Arts, and I've been with UL for 7 years. I completed my 7th years. I came here from, I taught before at Kent State in Ohio and Chicago, Illinois, and I lived in Minnesota for a long while, but I came originally from Russia. So with that, I traveled extensively throughout Europe. Never been to South America. That's my next one. But I covered all of the Europe. I have relatives living all over the world, so it's kind of I'm exposed to all of that. So but Italy was the only one country I never been to. Okay. I prepare as Brian to 2020. What was that? 2020 to go to Florence, but it never happens due to COVID. So we really hope that this time is a charm. It's gonna happen for us. So I'm really excited to finally see Florence.
And Nadia, at that time, you had enough students to be able to go. You had about 12, 14 students, right?
Yes, we had a great student that now unfortunately graduated and even graduated from grad school. So it's done, but it was amazing bunch of people that I would love to go again, but yeah.
Well, that just goes to show you how the students were really excited about you. And then Becky, you've been in charge of the hospitality management department for many years, right? Haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and you've done like the lunch club too, huh?
Yes, we have the restaurant on the 2nd floor of Hamilton Hall where we prepare meals for guests, 4-course meal every Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And then Brian, you were a department head for many, many years. They wouldn't let you leave the department head.
Yes, I was department head for 13 years.
Wow.
And I've stepped down 2017, I think was my last year as being department head.
That's amazing. That really is. So like I said, I just wanted to give the students a little bit of your background so they know who you are and get a feel for who you are. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to share our PowerPoint, share with them a little bit of information about the program, and then we're going to get started on sharing your information about your coursework. So just bear with me to make sure that I do this right. Okay. Are y'all able to see my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So as I mentioned, I'm a part of the study abroad office here on campus. And we deal with our faculty. A lot of what I do is working with the faculty-led programs. We do have 6 programs, a 10-day program in Costa Rica that takes place in the summer intersession, an England program, which is 3 weeks, 1 week here in Lafayette and 2 weeks in England. And then both of our France and our Italy programs are 6-week programs that usually begin in mid-May and continue and conclude into the end of June, sometimes early July. But again, our focus today will be on Italy. And then I'm really excited to share that for the summer of 2022, we are very, very thrilled to offer 2 new programs in different locations, a 2-week program in Tokyo, Japan, but there will be a 1 week here in Lafayette as well. And then a 4-week program in Rabat, Morocco. I was really happy because we had faculty members who came to us that are very familiar with those areas or from those areas or have lived there. So we're excited to offer those 2 new programs as well. And there are going to be videos on our website about each of these different programs with the faculty. For our Florence program, like I said, it usually takes place anywhere from May to June, and we're anticipating to have the same dates in the year 2022. We only have the approximate cost right now because I'm still finalizing the information with the company that we work with. But you do earn up to 9 credit hours. And as I mentioned, it is a 6-week program. With the 9 credit hours, what happens is you take 2 classes with either any of these professors. And then the 3rd course is a humanities course that everyone is required to take. It's Italian language and culture. And that particular course is meant to assist you as students with your stay there. It will help you with basic terminology, basic phrases, a little bit about the history, the culture. So it's really meant to assist you, while you're there. I do have a list in here of some of the sites that you're going to visit. You can read it on your own, but naturally our faculty will be sharing some of those locations with you when they're discussing about their coursework. It does include a weekend trip to Rome and the Vatican, where all of you as a group, along with the faculty, would travel to Rome for a weekend excursion there. And then there are some full day excursions to Siena, San Gimignano, those types of things. And sometimes our faculty even plan some optional weekends where they decide to go. And if that students want to go with them, sometimes that happens, but it's really something that you discuss, with your faculty in that regard. And, a lot of your weekends are going to be free because it is a 6-week program. So it allows you to have that free time to travel as you wish. So now that I've shared a little bit of information about the program as a whole, I am now going to turn it back over to our faculty. And I'm going to kind of go in the order that is listed. And they're going to share with you information about their courses. So you are familiar with what it's going to be like. So in our first question that I am going to ask of Ms. Nadia is, what are the specifics of your courses? Give us a synopsis of the courses. What will it entail? The sites that the students are going to visit. Where will the classes take place? What might a typical day be like? That kind of thing. So Ms. Nadia, if you don't mind sharing that information on your architecture and design classes that are listed right here.
So as you see, my course title, Renaissance Villas and Gardens, looking at, being in, looking from. And so this both theme of 2 courses. And the first course is a design theory course, a lecture course that's going to be more theoretical course that would involve reading, discussions, and writing a paper at the end of it. And the other course is a companion course, Design Field Sketching, based on you will learn through observation, exploring new environments, recording this observation via sketching, like small watercolors, collage, pencil drawing, anything that you can go in a small kind of format in your hands. We usually see better than a camera does, because we see, when we concentrate and observe something, we see lots of details to it, and that's how we see more than typically. So the course setting will take place throughout the Florence, as we see in the previous slides. Some visit to Rome, and the projected site will include like Baba Lee Garden, Bardini Garden, Pitti Palace. So in Rome, Hadrian Villa, Villa d'Este. So similar, very important site. And a typical day would look like we meet after breakfast. Maybe we're gonna have breakfast together. We're gonna meet on the steps of a museum. We're gonna walk the street of the city, stop at the assigned destination, like in Baba Lee Garden, start sketching, discuss reading the previous day we completed, return home maybe in some early, late afternoon, have some siesta, some break, and continue your own day and your own free time. Maybe continue to dinner and other stuff. We're gonna dress very casually, something that can take heat, extremely comfortable shoes, water supplies. We're gonna carry a small assortment of art supplies that we need for the day. That is what we carry, and that's how our day gonna be. Your day, on weekends you're free to explore other countries in Europe, arrange other trips, and faculty sometimes might participate in that as a group.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. So now I'm going to turn it over to Miss Becky, and I'm going to share my screen again so they can see the courses that you're offering, and then you can go ahead and get started.
Okay, the two courses that I'm going to offer is the food tourism, Italian food tourism. That's going to be HMGT 416. It will also be cross-listed as a management course. So management majors are definitely encouraged to consider Florence as well. And all College of Business students, it will count as their electives. And then beverage management 452, which normally I teach here at UL on campus, but we're going to bring in more of the Italian beverage management. Italy, of course, is the second largest wine producer in the world, and they use more traditional winemaking techniques compared to the US, where the US wine producers use more new techniques to make wine. Italians are very traditional in their winemaking. So we'll visit some wineries. We'll do a little bit of tasting. We'll explore regulations, Italian wine regulations. We'll do some excursions. I don't plan on being in the classroom a whole lot. We'll probably be in the classroom a short while just to talk about wine and winemaking, and then we're gonna experience it. We're gonna go to the wineries and explore, see it firsthand. And that's similar to how I teach the class here in Lafayette. We do go to distilleries. We bring in a lot of guest speakers. We have a sommelier who comes in and talks about wine. So it'll be very similar, but it'll be in Florence, and we'll focus more on Italian wine. We'll also talk a little bit about coffees, because of course, coffees are very important to Italians as well. So we'll explore that area of beverage management. And then the food tourism class, we're gonna, again, be out in Florence. Florence is gonna be our classroom. We're gonna visit cafes and restaurants, food producers. We'll go to farms and markets all over Florence. We'll talk about food regulations, compare the US food regulations versus Italian food regulations, the whole distribution and marketing of food in Italy. We'll explore different food regions of Italy, how the food differs from different areas. So it's again, it's going to be a lot of exploring the city. As far as coursework, probably a lot of writing, journaling, discussions, papers about comparing and contrasting here in the US versus Italy. And then what I plan to do is each week we'll meet up for dinner in the different apartments. So one night I'll host dinner and I'll have to cook a traditional Italian meal. And as a group, we'll share a meal together and we'll talk about our experiences for that week. And then each student will be assigned a week where they'll be responsible for cooking for the group.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Invite
so
us. Invite us.
Yes, yes.
We're gonna
We'll have a
participate. That sounds really good. Yeah.
big party, yes.
Can I join y'all? Unfortunately, I have to stay put. Maybe we can video in. How about that? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to taste the wonderful food.
I
'cause
know.
I don't cook well at all. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Becky. So, Mr. Kelly, I'm going to go ahead and ask that you share a little bit about your courses and the things you'll be doing. And in the process of you doing that, I'm going to put the screen back up of the courses and the names.
Wait for it to flip.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. So I'm teaching two courses, and like Nadia, my courses are certainly work hand in hand, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take them both. They do work independently if you want to do that. The first course is an art history course. I think one of the unique things about Italy is in art, most people think about the Renaissance, and they think about Michelangelo, especially Florence or the Medici family or Bernini. But printmaking has a strong history in the Renaissance, especially in Northern Italy, that many people don't think about. And pretty much gets overshadowed by people like Donatello and Michelangelo and Bernini and the Medici family. So the class is really going to be looking at how Florence and the role that Florence played in printmaking in that period of time, and the tributaries that it has to other regions in Europe. And the way we're going to explore that by doing some readings about the Renaissance, about printmakers that worked during the Renaissance that may have been moving through Florence or may have had connections to Florence. We're also going to experience that by going to the museums and looking at prints firsthand, as well as having reservation rooms assigned to go study prints in the printmaking study rooms in the museum. So in my previous experience taking students abroad, that was really a enriching experience to be in a museum and actually looking at the real prints and listening to the curators talk about them. It's a history course, so it will have writing and reading, and there'll be a paper that will be due at the end of the summer session. The class will be mobile. We won't be using a classroom. We'll be using the museums as the classrooms. We'll be using conversations with curators as the classroom. We also have trips planned to going to studios. What's beautiful about Florence in terms of art is that it's an artisan city still. And there are shops everywhere. There are glass shops, there are print shops, paper shops. It's literally, it's a city stuck in time, really. So we also have trips to print shops where we'll meet professional printers and learn about their work and hear about how Florence has inspired them. So it's going to look at printmaking in a historical context, in the Renaissance relationship to Florence, but it also will bridge over and talk about contemporary prints as well. The second course is Pat changed the screen and I can't.
I can change
recall the
that.
title.
That is not a problem. There you go.
Thank you. It's all entitled. The second course is more of a studio course, and it's going to incorporate printmaking process in it, as well as drawing and photography and other ways of making an image. But it's going to be a course that really asks the student to think about them and their context with Florence, and to find parallels between things that maybe they're interested in the States or things that they discover while they're in Florence. So It's going to ask the student to sort of reflect about where they are and think about the experiences that they're having and to document that visually. And we're going to do that through sketching and drawing and watercolor painting, but ultimately we're going to move that into making prints. And we're going to be traveling with this small little press that's the size of an iPad. And so we're going to physically be making prints in Florence. We'll do that in gardens. We'll do that in the rooms that we stay in. We'll do that on the streets. We'll do that at dinner or lunch. We're going to do it in all kinds of places. So it's kind of a printmaking guerrilla style in Florence. And it's going to be a really unique experience because whenever you are making art in public, sometimes people get curious and they'll come and see what you're doing, and it'll encourage a lot of interactivity with people around you. So it's going to be a really interesting kind of thing. That being said, I've taught at the university for 22 years, and I've taught drawing and printmaking for those 22 years. Also, when I went to study abroad in London, my courses were designed this way too. Major and non-major can take my courses. You don't have to have any drawing experience, printing experience, art experience. It's irrelevant. All you have to bring to the table is a willingness to walk, explore, think about things, and try new things, new experiences. I teach a lot of non-majors in my art courses, and those are the attributes to success. And when you're in Florence, there's going to be so much activity and so much inspiration. It's going to be very hard not to find something to really encourage you to make a mark. So majors, non-majors, it doesn't matter. You'll have fun. It'll be a rewarding experience. Also, the courses are cross-listed with humanities and honors. So if you're an art major or you're a general university major, the courses will count within your curriculum somewhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Kelly. I appreciate it. So now we're going to go ahead and ask our faculty a little more information, details that might help you, with your decisions on what courses you might want to take. And it's more like along the lines of logisticals. When will the class meetings meet? Will there be weekends where you'll be required to do some work, night activities, those types of things? How much free time will they have? And very importantly, how are they going to be graded? What will the assignments be like? Readings, attendance, those types of things. And I know some of you have already covered a little bit of that, but let's go into a little more detail for our students so they have an idea about that. So I'm going to get started with Miss Nadia again.
So you're gonna have free time on nights and weekends. I'm pretty sure you'll be busy over weekend. Aren't we gonna be done on Friday early? So you're gonna have 2.5 days of exploring other countries or other places in Italy. So, and then you come back on Monday, be with us. You gonna have a series of assignments, series of readings to do, or maybe online posts, some kind of submission that you would be due every week a little bit. There is no exams. Attendance, of course, is we're gonna know who you are. It's a small group of people. We're gonna get really, know each other. So that's simple with that, with attendance. Just one look at the group, I would know who's here and who's not. And why would you miss that day? It's completely not called for. At the end of the course, we probably gonna have typically we do a gallery of work that students did in Italy, the sketches, the watercolors, stuff like that. And we might have a gallery of work that would be our show for that thing. And of course, the final paper that's going to be a part of the theoretical course that would be a due, and that would comprise your grade for the course. So otherwise, it's very easygoing course in terms of versus when you in Fletcher Hall here at UL, that your week is project studio. So this is not a studio course. So we don't have a studio, we don't have a particular project to do, but you have to continue with your sketches. So if you've been working 5 days with us in going on the street of Florence or on assignments, you would have at least minimum of 5 pages of sketches. So 6 weeks, it'll be 30, 40 sketches out there. And then you might finish them at home. That would be maybe a little bit something to do to make your sketch better when you sit down and you in your room.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Nadia. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Becky. If you could share a little bit more about, what's going to be required of them.
Yes, very similar to what Nadia said. It's we're not going to be taking tests. Weekends are going to be free for the students to explore the city on their own. I don't plan on having anything on the weekends. Like I said earlier, in the evening, at least once a week, we will get together as a group and each take turns cooking and hosting the group in their apartments, cooking authentic Italian foods. So the students will be graded on that. However, I know not all students are, culinarians. So of course I'll be there to assist them. But part of the process is being able to go to the market and pick out the foods. I expect the students to do a lot of comparing and contrasting. How Italians do it versus how Americans and, Cajuns, Southern Louisianians. So a lot of comparing. I want the students to understand that not everyone lives like we live here in Louisiana. I want them to be able to notice the differences and hopefully one day bring back the Italian culture here to Southern Louisiana and maybe incorporate it into a hospitality business, a restaurant, or some type of business where they can bring that back here. Let's see. No tests, just a paper. Of course, participation. We will be doing a lot of tours. We'll be meeting with a lot of producers, food manufacturers, winemakers, and I do expect the students to fully participate in those tours. I do expect them to ask questions and be active learners. So participation will be a heavy percentage of their grade along with a paper. So that's what I planned so far.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Becky. Mr. Kelly, if you could share with your information about your courses and what would be expected of them. Oh, you're on mute, if you don't mind. Awesome.
Weekends will be open for students to do with what they wish. The classes, I'm a pretty structured person when I teach. And I think as an artist, it's important to have sort of a structure schedule. So the student should expect from me a schedule. They'll know exactly where they should be, when they should be every day. And in terms of the studio course, there's no tests. The grade will be based upon production. The students are going to produce a body of work. So a body of work is about 7 pieces. Those pieces will be print in the end as a final product. There'll be sketches that the students will have to generate to work through ideas, and we'll talk about those sketches and talk about the development of the ideas. The idea hopefully will be connected to Florence, but it certainly could be connected to an area outside of Florence, a place that they may have traveled to on a weekend. But we're going to talk about ideas. We're going to talk about personal ideas and things related to the individual, the student, and the environment that they're in. And we're going to talk about how artists create work. And we're going to talk about how artists work through and utilize inspiration and references around them, and how they cultivate that and how they digest that to make a body of work. The grade ultimately will be based upon participation. We're going to be working on site. So like the other 2 faculty have talked about, you have to be there. And the thing is, you're in Florence, for God's sake, right? It's an unbelievable city, right? So the classroom is the city. So participation, you have to be there. And as an artist, the participation, the conversations are what generate the ideas. Talking back and forth between students and myself about possibilities and how to push work. And that's a communal activity. And to do that in a place like Florence is just phenomenal. I mean, it's just an absolute unique experience. So participation is important. And obviously the body of work. The final body of work will not be due until the end of the summer semester. So when we return back to the States, you still have time to work and resolve things. That'll all be laid out in the class in terms of where things need to be dropped off and that. But in the end, it's a studio course. So for those of you who've taken them, what I've just described should seem or should sound familiar. For those who've never taken one and never had an art course, again, I wouldn't be afraid and don't be nervous about kind of how I describe that. There's an organicness to it because there has to be, because you have to find a comfort place, a comfort zone, and then you have to find out who you are as an artist. And my job is to guide you through that. And my job is to help you through that. And so that's the studio course. The other course, there'll be a paper that will be due at the end of the summer session. There will be readings that the students will have to read before class. When we meet at a specific museum or gallery, the context of the gallery in terms of the work in the space and what I want you to see will be connected to the reading. And we will have discussions about their experiences. I also do treasure hunts in those classes where I give them a list of things they need to find in Florence. And sometimes those treasure hunts are within the class period. Sometimes they're a little bit larger, and they make the student sort of move through the city and go to places that maybe we missed so they can discover some things that are connected to the content of the course to help them sort of make connections. The paper that they have to write is a paper in terms of a topic that they come up with that's associated with the topic of the course. So it could be about an artist they discovered in Florence. It could be about an artist they discover when we go to Rome. It could be about a print. It could be about two prints or two artists. But in the process of experiencing the city, the topic will come out of that for the class. And as we talk about museums and works and the ideas that the course is about, that will help them sort of figure out how to sort of think about the topic. And about a quarter of the way through the class in Florence, they'll be required to come to give me the topic. So we can start to formalize that idea. I can start to give them places to look, additional galleries or museums to go to find additional references to help them with the paper. But again, it's a history course, so it's a paper. No quizzes, but that class also participation is important.
Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate the details. So like that, students will have more of an idea of what's expected of them, especially since it's work outside of the campus community. And that does help our students. So right now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one last time. Let's see, make sure it comes up. No, it's not. Okay, there we go. Okay, so again, these are the courses that they are going to be offering, and these are listed on our website as well. So you can always make a reference to the website with the course listings. This is just a little bit of, insight. These are some of our students that went a few years ago, and just some information, a map as well as a photograph here. I do want to share also, in addition to our faculty-led programs, there are other study abroad opportunities. Students can participate in student field experiences where, a faculty member might incorporate a short-term experience within a current class they're teaching here on the campus. And then we also have opportunities for students to study abroad for a semester or a year abroad. And then we also have recently been more involved with internships, international internships for our students abroad. Feel free to take a look and read over this information. And if it's something that you as a student might be interested in, don't hesitate to contact my office, because I can provide guidance to those students that might be interested in participating in these types of experiences. In the fall, and it really depends upon when you're watching this, but we are planning some student panel discussions with our alumni that have participated in our programs in the past. Some of those may be live, which I will ultimately record as well. And then some of them I might record in advance where students would be interested students would be able to view them. But we are planning for student alumni discussions where you will be able to hear information from students who have participated in our study abroad programs in the past. So keep an eye out for that, and all of that will be clearly marked on our website as well. I do want to share with you that this is a video that I encourage all of our students to view. I don't think you can view it from this link, but I'm going to make sure that it's posted on our website. And it's a YouTube video from some of our alumni that have participated in our programs in the past. It's a really awesome video that our graduate assistants had worked on a few years ago. And it just kind of gives you some insight, and you feel the excitement from the students when they talk about their experiences. So I encourage you to watch the video. And again, I will clearly post it. It will be clearly marked on our websites for you to view it on our website, not sites. All right. This is my contact information. As I said, my name is Pat, and I'm located in the student union. We are back in the office full time at this point in time, but naturally there are still issues that we have to deal with regarding regulations on campus. So for now, we're still just scheduling virtual appointments, and that could change in the future. But feel free to contact me. I can do virtual appointments. I can speak with you over the phone. And by the time the semester starts up, there may be times where we are having in-person meetings. We just don't know at this point in time. I do want to mention that we are also going to have orientation sessions with our students, and that will include our faculty here for Italy, where we assist you with your departure preparation. So like that, you'll have an idea of what to expect. We're going to cover so many different areas, such as, where will you, the types of place you will be staying in the apartments, currency exchange, debit, credit cards, how to communicate with family and friends back home, how do we deal with laundry, how to pack, what not to pack, what to pack. All those types of things will be covered in the orientation sessions that we do have in the spring. And we will all be in attendance, myself as well as our faculty for the Italy program. I do want to mention one thing regarding the issue with COVID. COVID-19 naturally has still been, it's still in the backs of all of our minds, and it's still an issue that we have to contend with. As of now, the University Study Abroad Office is going full forward in hopes that our programs are going to go in 2022. We were so saddened that our programs had to cancel in 2020 as well as 2021. So we are so hopeful that we can get back on track because, we have faculty that are interested in teaching, we have students that are interested in going, and we want to keep this tradition going because it's just a phenomenal experience for both our students and faculty. But with the reality of COVID still being there, we're going to have to continue to monitor it. Naturally, I'll be in communication with our faculty, I will be in communication with our students, but we are going to move forward and recruit and have students apply for the programs, but keeping in mind that I am going to keep the financial needs of our students in mind, that we want to make sure that the decisions we make with our programs are of most benefit to our students and faculty. So we're going to make sure that if we cannot go at a certain period of time, we're going to make those decisions so that it has the best impact upon our students. So just keep in contact with me. That is not an issue for me whatsoever. What I'd like to do now is, open it up to our faculty to see if there's anything else that they would like to share, any final words, any things that might be beneficial for our students to know. So if anybody would like to share something, please feel free. And then after that, we're gonna, conclude. Anything? I'm sorry, I'm putting you all on the spot, aren't I?
Well, I'll start. I've met a lot of students throughout the years who have participated in study abroad. I have lots of faculty friends who have participated in study abroad, and all I've heard has been wonderful, wonderful experiences. It's life-changing. I have some graduates who did study abroad, and they go back. Not every year. I'm sure they wish they could go back every year, but they now take vacations abroad. They've learned so much, learned about the world, and have just had wonderful experiences. So I've never heard a negative experience with study abroad. The faculty will be there for the students to help them along the way. So definitely do it.
We had a students who would go in 2020 who went there as an undergrad, and then they sign up a second time to go as a graduate student. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but they were so wanted to go because they enjoyed that the first time.
Teaching in London, teaching in the program in the past, and watching the students, thinking about the students before they got there and thinking about after they came back. It was life-changing for them, going to London. And you think, well, London's like New York. Well, I mean, you could make that comparison, but it's not. It's not like going to New York, and it's not like going to Los Angeles. It's not like going to Texas or Austin or Dallas. It was phenomenal. The history, the context of the way you see the world and the way in which another person, other country sees the world, and seeing how those two views start to play against each other. You can't recreate that other than going there. It gave them a real sense of who they were and where they are in the world. And you can't recreate that. It's life-changing. And I've told this to Pat before, and I've told it to many people. I didn't go to Europe until I was much older. If I would have done it younger, it would have been magical in terms of what it did for me at my age when I was older. But I don't think you can recreate. You can't. Watching TV doesn't do it. Watching movies, it just doesn't encapsulate. Being there, experiencing another culture, experiencing another way that of looking at the world, a different viewpoint is for an artist is critical. And I think for a human being, it's critical. So it's an opportunity that is definitely life-changing. And one of the things too that we didn't really talk about, because we're used to looking at travel maybe from a domestic viewpoint, from a filter. And you may say, well, I want to go to Colorado. And you know what that plane ticket costs to go to Colorado? And that might be cost prohibitive for you to go to Colorado. But when you get in Europe and you have your weekends free, travel is cheap. It is really cheap. You can go to a different country for a couple days and come back. And if you plan it right, it may cost you under $100 to do that, at least an airfare. But travel is very cheap in Europe. The distance between 2 points is much smaller than it is in America. And the opportunity not only to be sort of affected by the culture of the place you want to go, but then you maximize that, you compound that by the potential to be even more affected by cultures outside of that. And, I think it's an absolutely phenomenal experience. It's changed my viewpoint. It's changed my work. It's changed me as a person. And I was supposed to go 2 years ago. I was set to go. My class is made. I was supposed to go with Nadia to Florence. We were ready to go. And COVID pulled the plug out of it.
And then, yeah.
So,
I think, Brian, another main point that you just mentioned, experience. But what is, you're not going there as a tourist. You're going to live there as a local person for 6 weeks. It's completely changing. You're never gonna go on vacation for 6 weeks. It's rare. But here you're gonna get enveloped in this country, in the culture, and not as a tourist. You're not gonna look like a tourist walking the street. You might look like American, but you're not gonna look like a tourist. So because you have a purpose, you live there, you have a place, so you never replicate that experience ever by any vacation you ever take, because up there you're going to be a tourist, no matter how long you go.
that's
So that's
100%,
the major
100,
deal breaker.
100% right, Nada, right? Like when you go on vacation, you go for a week. That's your mindset.
Yeah.
This is 6. So at some point you become a Florentine. you become embedded. And it forces you to consider and change in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, you can't put a price tag on it. It's just an experience that if you can do it, will change your life, 100%.
Y'all, thank you so very much. I so appreciate that you've taken time out of your really busy schedules to be with me today, to share this with our students. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, and to our students, I hope that you have gotten everything that I've gotten out of this session. Thank you both. Thank you all.